Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grumpy Viking Tactical. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you, I'm going to be interrupting your normally scheduled programming because I'm going to actually take time. I'm going to be covering a game that I've actually covered multiple times in the past, and it seems that this game is now going to finally be released. So today, it's not going to be much of an interruption, but we're going to be talking about guns, even though that's been kind of what we normally been talking about around here. But today I'm actually going to be kind of doing a bit of gaming, as I'm going to be talking about Gunsmith Simulator once again. I've talked about this in the past because I've talked about the beta, and I've talked about the early demos that I was given access to. And well, I was actually given access to this. However, here's the deal. As a quick disclaimer, I was given a key because I had done previous previous coverage of Gunsmith Simulator. With that being said, there is no agreement between me and Game Hunters, which is the developer, or myself and Playway SA, which is the publisher of the game. They just sent me the key and gave me early access to the game as a thank you for participating and doing previous coverage for Gunsmith Simulator. Now, let's move on to more about the game itself. The developer's been Game Hunters all the way. Game Hunters all the way. It's just Game Hunters, by the way. The publisher is Playway SA, which they've published many other games. One other game I've covered in the past that they've covered that they were publisher for was Tank Mechanic Simulator. They also have done the car mechanic games. There's Car Mechanic 2014, I think 2018 and 2020. I might be wrong about those numbers. But they've done a lot of simulator games like this where they're kind of a puzzle, disassemble things, fix it, put it back together, and see if it works type of deal. So this is not the first time they've published this type of game. They've published actually quite a few of these. The engine is Unity engine. And that just seems like to be the typical kind of engine for a workplace, workshop simulator type game, it seems like anymore. And upon recording of this video, and when this video goes out, this game will not be released yet because I'm going to put this video out July 18th of 2023. This game is actually going to come out July 19th of 2023. So this game comes out tomorrow, folks. If you're seeing this video the day I actually published this video on my YouTube channel. Now, I want to highlight a couple things here. And I'm just going to do this as a general. I'm starting from scratch when it comes to doing the review. Because literally, like I said, they're getting ready to release this game, and essentially the product that they're going to be launching with, short of them doing some kind of update or something between the time I record and the time they release the game, this is what we're going to be getting. Now, from what I could see, the graphics is actually, honestly, the graphics is pretty damn impressive, really. You can see the engravings on the guns. You can see the wood grain, things of that nature. This is not a highly graphic demanding game from what I could tell. I ran this on ultra graphics, just max graphics all the way through. I am running an RTX 2070 though. Now, that being said, this game is for PC. It's only going to be on PC from what I can tell at the time of this recording. The sounds are pretty good. The guns sound beefy. I've covered that before, where with the initial release that they had put out, the guns sounded really weak. They had improved it, and honestly, it sounds like they had to even improve the gun sounds a bit more to me. The music is fine. There's not really a whole lot of music there. Honestly, I recommend, if you're going to be playing this game for any extended period of time, either have some kind of music bot playing, or, you know, Spotify, or have an audio book playing in the background, or listening to a documentary or something, because music, there's not a lot of different music tracks. The music works for what it is. It's just background noise. It's not worth a whole lot, but I'm not going to be overly negative about the music either, because most of the time anymore when it comes to games and music, short of more story-driven games, I really just don't care about the music, and most of the time I just don't listen to it. I actually usually shut the music off and just listen to whatever music I like in the background, or like I said, a documentary, or I'll listen to an audiobook or something like that. The different task is extremely easy. I mean, we're talking so easy, a caveman can do it. And I know all the cavemen out right now are getting offended. Please don't get offended. For us normal people, I'm just trying to put in perspective of how easy it is. It's really easy to disassemble the guns, do whatever it is you need to do to fix them up and put them back together. And honestly, the game pretty much every step of the way helps you on, literally every step of the way on getting everything done that you need to do, including running things like the mill, the CNC machine, the lathe, etc. There is numerous different tasks as well. So you're going to end up having to blue your gun parts. You're going to end up having to clean your gun parts. You're going to have to end up oiling your gun parts. Sometimes you're going to have to make your gun parts through a CNC machine. Sometimes you have to order gun parts. Of course, you have to disassemble and reassemble. Sometimes you have to get out to the range to test the different guns, as well as all the guns are different in their assembly, design, and etc. So it gives you different tasks to do, as well as even with increasing your skills and learning different aspects of being a gunsmith. Your grandfather will send you different guns to work on. Everything he sent me was he a few times sent me a Winchester Model 21, which is a double barrel shotgun, and he sent me a Colt 1911 a couple times to work on. But what that does is that expands the different things, and it kind of works as a tutorial and learning how to do the different things, such as refinishing your wood furnishing parts, so that way you can refurbish that type of stuff, and basically that becomes a skill then you can use in the gun shop to reproduce gun parts. The disassembly and reassembly for most of the guns seems pretty legit, especially when you start getting down to the smaller parts, and it's like you gotta remove this pin to get this part out, etc. There are skill points in the game. That's actually a new thing that I don't remember previously from any of the other ones, and basically it just makes you more efficient. The skill points just make you more efficient at doing things like turning the screws, using the sandblaster, bluing the parts. So basically when it comes to bluing your parts, it becomes quicker. When it comes to running the CNC machine, which I highly recommend, folks, whenever it comes time and you unlock the CNC skill tree, definitely invest in the CNC machine skill tree. That seems to be a machine I'm using nonstop. But yeah, definitely take the skill points. Definitely gives you an advantage. It just makes it quicker to disassemble and reassemble the guns and get the jobs done and get them out the door, so you can make more money. There's also proficiency as well. So basically it gets to the point that after so many times of working on certain guns, such as like 1911s, I've worked on so many 1911s anymore that I can literally actually disassemble and reassemble the 1911 blindfolded, one-handed in a snowstorm. That basically now at this point that I can literally just drop it on my table, click a button, and it will do the full disassembly process for me. And it's the same thing with reassembly. Once I'm done doing all the minor work, such as refurbishing the parts, creating new parts, or ordering parts, and getting everything bundled up to get the gun put back together, I just click one button and it just puts the whole gun back together for me. So that's a really nice touch. That makes things go a lot quicker. And honestly, I wish that was something that would be in Tank Mechanic Simulator. So I think that's actually a really nice feature, to be honest. New range. They got a new range in here. This was not part of any of the other previous demos. I didn't even know that they had this. They added a destructible range where you can basically, you're shooting watermelons, plates, cinder blocks, things of that nature, as well as they added a shoot house, which I think is pretty cool in itself. Plus, they still have the shooting range there. And then, of course, you have the workshop. So I think the new range is a really nice new addition. And it's kind of a nice thing to play with to once you start building up your own collection. Like, oh, I think I'd just go mess around in the shooting range for a little while, load up maybe a couple of your guns and head out to the shooting range or the destructible range and have some fun. Now, that being said, with guns in the game right now, they do have a good list. This is the list that we will be starting with. Now, there's two guns here I have yet to see. I still have yet to see an M1 Garand, which I want to get one for my collection, and I still have yet to see a Glock. I have not even gotten jobs for either one of those guns. I'm not sure what the deal is with that. If it's something that they're there and that the jobs are really rare, or there's like a certain prerequisite or whatever that I need to do to start getting those guns. I am not sure what's going on with those two guns. I wish I knew more information about that. I'm guessing that's probably something that we're going to see release day, that maybe they'll patch that and those guns will actually officially be there so they can be worked on, because you got to understand that this is an early access thing, and I'm betting the developers are going to want me still playing this game after the game is actually officially released. So, and not just me, but other people they gave early access to as well. And honestly, that's a good place for them to start. You got revolvers there, you got a double barrel shotgun there, you got different types of bolt action rifles, you got two different submachine guns, you got two different assault rifles, you know. So they do got, in my opinion, they got a good list of different types of guns that are built in different ways, etc. I'll just pull the list back up here so you can see it. And I think that's a good start. They also got a pump action shotgun there, and as like just a starting list, I feel they definitely need to expand on the list of guns, especially if they want to keep people interested in the game for a long period of time. Or at least add mod support, so like mod creators could add additional guns to the game, which that's something I'm not sure of if they're planning on adding mod support. I do believe they're going to down the road. I believe that's a question that's been asked multiple times, if there was going to be mod support added to the game, but it's not some at the time of this recording that I'm sure of. Also, they actually have the gun auction in here. We can actually get a look at the gun auction. It's nice. It's simple. Basically, you get 5 different guns that you can see. You can place bids on those guns. Those auctions goes off, and then if you win that auction, you get that gun. It's actually really nice and simple. I like it. As well as you can also sell guns on the gun auction, which I haven't tried to sell any guns yet on the gun auction. Now, understand, I have almost 20 hours in this game, and I haven't tried that yet. And I think that's something I'm going to mess with next, is actually trying to sell a gun on the gun auction, see how that is. But with seeing how simple everything else is in this game, I'm suspecting that's going to be actually pretty simple to get to do as well. Now, with that being said, stuff I do know for sure because of literally my background in firearms. Not all the part names are 100% correct. With that being said, some of the part names I believe the developers just kind of made up because they didn't have anything else better to use. And just to be honest, I'm not sure if some of the parts that they named actually does have names. Such as, miscellaneous spraying that does this job. Some of this stuff I don't know actually technically has names. With that being said, I don't feel it's an absolute negative. I know some of the parts in general really, some of the parts in general, some of them aren't correct. But honestly, it's mostly something that can be overlooked. You know, if you're super serious about everything being 100% correct, though, well, not everything's going to be 100% correct. Disassembly at times can, oh boy, yeah. So my first M4 disassembly, understand folks, I do own an AR-15, and I did spend a few years in the United States Army. For those who don't know, I always got to say that because I've been doing this YouTube thing for a while, and I know that there's longtime viewers that do know have been in the service, and that I'm a veteran. But there's also those viewers that are new to the channel that don't know. So I bring that up. And sorry, I had to take a moment to clear my throat. So the first M4, the very first thing I did was basically try to tear the upper receiver off the lower receiver. Basically, well, actually the first thing he did was eject the magazine. Even though I already knew the gun was clear, but of course I eject the magazine anyway as soon as I got to the workbench. And I tried to take the upper receiver off the lower receiver, because when doing the disassembly on an M16 or an M4 or an AR-15, that is normally the first place you start when you actually start the disassembly process. Understand there's a couple steps you have to go through before you get that far, such as clearing the firearm and, you know, ejecting the magazine, making sure the chamber's clear, etc., etc. So step one of when you actually do the actual tear down, the first place you're going to want to start with is field stripping the gun. And that's essentially involves tearing taking the upper receiver off the lower receiver. I don't know why. That is not how it's done in the game. There's a process of, you got to take this part off, you got to take this part off, you got to take this part off, this part off, this part off. And literally it gets to the point where it's like, okay, I've taken everything apart, and I'm now just getting to the point where I can take the upper receiver off of the lower receiver. Like, the gun doesn't have a handguard, it doesn't have a barrel, doesn't have a grip, doesn't have a magazine, upper sight, the whole 9 yards. And it's like, okay, this doesn't make sense. This isn't how you tear down an M4 for service. And I even noticed that as well with the AK, because I actually do have some training with the AK. Now, like the 1911, they did a pretty good job with the 1911. There's some inconsistency there with how you'd really do a 1911. But the nice thing is with the 1911 is it's kind of like a cat. There's multiple ways to skin it. And for the most part, the 1911 disassembly and reassembly is actually fairly correct. So I'll give them credit there. The recoil on some of the guns, oh boy. Yeah, M2 machine gun. I tried the one that really got my attention is I tried the PPSH-41, and I decided, oh, this is going to be cool. High rate of fire. It's got this really cool high rate of fire, but almost no recoil. Let's flip this thing on full auto and just go balls out. And by the second, third shot, I was shooting up into the sky. The recoil is horrendous. The recoil is horrendous on the AKM as well. I didn't really try any of the other guns that can go automatic to find out, because basically at that point I knew the gunplay was kind of rubbish. And just to be honest, yeah, the gunplay in the game is kind of rubbish. I've discussed this before, and I'm discussing this again, that I feel the gunplay in this game is rubbish. I'm not expecting Call of Duty, but this is the third time now that I'm highlighting the gunplay in the game is pretty shit. And I would think, while they wouldn't super emphasize the gunplay, I would think they would still, because it being a simulator and because it's about guns that they would want fairly accurate gunplay and mechanics. So it is kind of disappointing that's to see that stuff has not been improved after literally almost a year. That to see that part has not been improved yet. Hopefully, after the game is released, there will be some improvement on that end. Personally, I'm not expecting it at this point. And some things honestly just didn't make sense to me. One thing that comes out is I got a double barrel shotgun for dirt cheap on the gun broker, and I decided to do a sawed off short grip version for the double barreled shotgun, where basically I got a sawed off double barrel with the sawed off grip, but the stock and the foregrip on the original that I bought from the gun broker was shit. So I had to essentially take time and make brand new wood furnishing. And when I made the wood furnishing, this is the part that I don't understand. I made brand new wood furnishing, and when I made the brand new wood furnishing, it made a full stock instead of the pistol grip. Okay, well, maybe after I'm done with it, it'll convert it over to the pistol grip. No, it made me go to the computer and actually buy a sawed off grip. It made no sense to me. Same way with the barrel. The barrel I got with the shotgun was perfectly fine. Instead of sitting there and sawing off the barrel in my gun shop, which would make sense, I would have the tools, it made me go to the parts store on the computer and buy a sawed off shotgun barrel. Why? That just did not make any sense to me whatsoever. So of the things that I want to gripe, or the things that I want to gripe about the most, I want to say is the recoil and the fact that some things just don't make sense. And that's actually the one that stands out the most to me as not making sense, is the whole sawed off shotgun thing. There's a lot of things that I can see that they did a fairly decent job on. I can also see where this game they can easily expand upon this game and add more guns to the game, which I hope they plan to do in the future. With that being said, I actually did have a lot of fun just kind of screwing around, tinkering around with the different guns, doing the different tasks, doing the different contracts for the customers, making money, buying guns on the gun broker, etc. I had fun with all that stuff. But is it worth it at the end of the day? And here's kind of the final issue. I want to say yes, but it's going to be based on the price tag. And here's kind of the issue of the whole deal is, at the time of this recording, we're less than a week out. We're literally 4 days out from the game's release as I'm recording this video. And they still don't have a price tag on the game. And the developers themselves still does not have a price tag on the game. What I would say is, for 15, 20 bucks, yeah, the game's worth it. I had fun with it. As just a screw around, something to do when I'm absolutely bored and have nothing better to do. And actually, believe it or not, as I played this, I've actually found myself enjoying this more than Tank Mechanic Simulator at this point. But there's a long story between me and Tank Mechanic Simulator at this point. Any more than, and 20 bucks I think is kind of reaching the upper limit. Like, more, definitely any more than 20 bucks. No, I don't think I'd spend more than 20 bucks on this game, just to be honest. At that point, I would just wait for this game to be on sale. because this is a game that I don't think most people are really going to want to spend the hours into, to be honest. I think this is going to be kind of one of those things you're just going to kind of jump on, tinker around a little bit, maybe disassemble and fix up a couple guns, maybe get a gun for your collection and be on your way, and that's going to be the end of it. I don't see this as a gun that or a game that people are going to want to spend hundreds of hours in. And I just, that's just my opinion, that I feel that the game is kind of a niche. And let's just be honest, games like this, car mechanic simulator, tank mechanic simulator, airplane mechanic simulator, of course, Gunsmith Simulator, these games are realistically a niche. There's no other way to cut about it. So if this feels your niche, if this would be something you'd be interested in, yes, I can recommend this. I think you would have fun messing with this game. But with that being said, as a long term, I can't wait to spend 150 hours in this game. No, this is definitely not that kind of game. But either way, folks, that is my thoughts, finally, about Gunsmith Simulator. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And we're going to get back to our regularly scheduled programming around here. Anyway, folks, have yourself a wonderful day.